Most people are not trapped because they lack potential. They are trapped because their lives are built on systems they do not control. Every morning begins the same way. The phone, the notifications, the urgency, the reaction. And before their minds are even fully awake, their attention already belongs to the world. This is the hidden architecture of modern exhaustion. Not physical weakness, fragmented direction. Most people spend their entire lives building systems they will never own. That is the tragedy of modern existence. They wake up exhausted, rush through traffic, answer messages before their thoughts become clear, trade energy for temporary survival, and repeat the cycle until burnout begins feeling normal. Not because they are unintelligent, but because their lives were shaped by external systems instead of intentional structure. This is the invisible tax of modern life. Fragmented attention, scattered energy, endless reaction. Most people are not tired from hard work. They are tired from friction. Too many decisions, too many distractions, too many emotional interruptions, too many things pulling their minds in opposite directions. And slowly, over time, their potential leaks away. Not dramatically, quietly. One distracted morning at a time, one reactive day at a time, one fragmented year at a time. And maybe you have already felt this. The strange exhaustion of being constantly busy, while somehow still feeling far away from the life you actually want. That is why movement alone means nothing. A person can stay busy for 10 years and still build no freedom. Because movement is not progress, reaction is not power, and hard work without structure eventually becomes expensive exhaustion. Look carefully at the modern world. Millions of people consume more information than any generation in history, yet possess less control over their own lives. They know more, but own less. They scroll endlessly through opportunities, while building nothing that compounds. This is because information without structure creates overload instead of vital leverage. The architect understands a different law. Systems will always outperform raw effort. A focused system can achieve what years of scattered labor never could. A content system, an investment system, an automation system, a health system, a thinking system, a business system, a relationship system. Systems are simply organized energy, and organized energy compounds. This is the first principle of authority. Stop carrying the world manually. Build structures that carry weight for you. The average person wakes up reacting. The architect wakes up positioning. That difference changes entire futures. Most people live inside urgency. The architect designs environments that reduce unnecessary urgency from the beginning. Because structure creates freedom. Without structure, your attention becomes public property. Every platform can access it. Every trend can manipulate it. Every emotional impulse can redirect your future. This is why attention is now infrastructure. Whoever controls your attention slowly influences the direction of your life. And most people surrender it every morning before breakfast. One notification, one headline, one emotional trigger, and suddenly their focus belongs to the world again. This is the architecture of distraction. A machine designed to consume human potential and convert it into endless reaction. But the architect steps outside the loop. Silence becomes protection. Clarity becomes leverage. Attention becomes strategic capital. Because the architect understands something most people never realize. Energy scattered across 1,000 directions can never create meaningful force. A fragmented mind cannot build a powerful future. That is why the predator does not attack every movement in the grass. It understands timing. It understands positioning. It understands that imprecise movement wastes energy. Its stillness is not weakness. Its stillness is calculation. This is the second principle of authority. Reduce friction before increasing force. Most people try to overpower chaos through effort. The architect removes unnecessary chaos from the system itself. A distracted workflow creates exhaustion. A chaotic environment destroys momentum. An undisciplined mind leaks energy continuously. But a well-designed structure protects cognition from collapse. This is why powerful systems often appear quiet. A strong business does not require constant panic. A strong workflow does not require endless decision-making. A strong mind does not emotionally collapse every time the outside world becomes unstable. The modern world rewards stimulation. But long-term freedom is usually built through emotional regulation. This is where most people fail. They want income without systems, freedom without discipline, influence without consistency, results without repetition. But reality does not operate that way. Everything sustainable requires structure. Even nature follows systems. The planets move through patterns. The body operates through processes. Compounding follows mathematical law. Human life is no different. What you repeat becomes your future. This is why small systems matter more than dramatic effort. 1 hour of protected deep work compounds. 1 disciplined investment habit compounds. 1 repeatable business process compounds. 1 powerful relationship compounds. 1 clear thinking routine compounds. The distracted consume. The architect compounds. That is the law of leverage. A small force in the correct position can move enormous weight. Most people waste energy pushing directly against resistance. The architect searches for leverage points. 1 focused individual with intelligent systems can outperform talented people trapped in distraction loops. 1 automated process can save thousands of hours over a lifetime. 1 clear workflow can reduce years of unnecessary stress. This is why leverage matters more than intensity. The world teaches people to work harder. Very few people are taught to design better. The architect asks different questions. What can be automated? What can be simplified? What can be repeated? What continues creating value while I sleep? What removes friction permanently? And maybe these are the questions modern people should have been taught much earlier. Because these questions separate labor from authority. This is the third principle of power. If success depends entirely on your constant effort, you do not own a system. You own a cage. A real system continues producing value long after the original effort is complete. A piece of content can generate influence for years. A strong reputation can create opportunities automatically. A trusted network can open doors faster than brute force ever could. A well-built asset continues working while the creator rests. This is not laziness. This is intelligent architecture. The architect is not obsessed with appearing busy. The architect is obsessed with preserving energy for what truly matters. Most people are trapped inside reactive loops. Wake up, check the phone, consume noise, react emotionally, lose focus, repeat, and then wonder why years disappear without transformation. This is modern exhaustion, not physical weakness. Cognitive fragmentation. Most people do not need more motivation. They need less friction, less noise, less distraction, less emotional leakage. Because every notification is a vote against your future. Every distraction delays construction. Every fragmented day weakens momentum. This is why silence matters. Not because silence is mystical, but because silence allows systems to think clearly. In silence, patterns become visible. In silence, emotional noise loses authority. In silence, the architect can finally see what is actually worth building. This is where strategic authority begins. Not through constant action, but through intelligent direction. There is a massive difference between effort and effective force. A perfectly aligned machine can move enormous weight with minimal resistance. A disorganized machine burns energy while achieving almost nothing. Human life works the same way. Without alignment, people burn out. With alignment, momentum appears, and momentum changes everything. At first, systems feel slow, invisible, unimpressive. That is why most people abandon them too early. They crave immediate validation, immediate applause, immediate growth. But foundations are built underground. The deepest structures remain invisible for the longest time. The architect understands this. That is why patience becomes strategic advantage. While others chase temporary spikes, the architect builds permanent infrastructure. Because systems outlast motivation, motivation fluctuates, emotion changes daily, but structure survives unstable emotion. This is the fourth principle of authority. Design a life where progress does not depend on mood. Build routines that survive low motivation. Build systems that survive stress. Build structures that survive distraction. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. The future belongs to people who understand leverage. AI systems, automation systems, media systems, distribution systems, knowledge systems, investment systems. Not because technology magically saves people, but because intelligent systems multiply focused human effort. This is the new geometry of power. The people who master systems will gain disproportionate levels of freedom, influence, and opportunity in the coming era. Not because they are superhuman, but because they understand multiplication. Most people think in terms of effort. The architect thinks in terms of scaling force. That single shift changes everything. The exhausted cell time repeatedly. The architect multiplies time. The exhausted react to chaos. The architect organizes chaos into usable energy. The exhausted survive day to day. The architect builds for decades. And eventually, the difference becomes impossible to ignore. One life becomes heavier every year. The other becomes increasingly fluid. Not because life became easier, but because intelligent structure removed unnecessary friction. This is the final truth. Power is not something you demand. It is something you design. Not through noise, not through domination, but through intelligent systems aligned with long-term reality. Do not work harder without direction. Do not confuse activity with authority. Do not chase complexity for the appearance of importance. Design better. Think longer. Protect your attention. Reduce friction. Build systems that continue creating value long after the original effort is complete. Because systems will always outlast labor. And eventually, you begin realizing something even deeper. The modern world is not only competing for your time, It is competing for ownership of your mind. And that changes the game entirely.